So we're here with Annie Washington Reese, and we're going to conduct an interview with her. She's going to tell us about her life and also about the Washington family.
My name is Annie Washington Reese. I was a Washington, but now I'm a Reese.
Okay.
I'm married a Reese.
What year were you born?
1913, can you believe it?
1913.
Yes.
And what is your birth month and day?
April the 20th.
So you just turned.
I turned 102 in April the 20th.
Congratulations. So what city were you born in?
Maybe Eastover, South Carolina.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What are the earliest memories that you can recall
When I was
of
a little
life?
girl.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
I remember I was about 4 years old. I remember getting a whipping. And I had a little dress made with the buttons in the back, you know, fly open, and every time it fly over, my mom would tell me up back there. Oh, Lord. And
Now, what was your mother's name?
Annie, I named after my mother, Annie Washington
Okay. Do you remember her maiden name?
Davis.
Okay, Annie Davis Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And what was your father's full name?
Willie Washington, that was his name.
Okay. How many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had 3 sisters and 1 brother.
Okay. Were you the youngest, oldest?
I'm the baby.
Okay, you're the baby.
Yeah.
So who's the next in line to you? Who would been
My
the next
sister
youngest?
Eloise.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And how old was how much? Now, what did your father do for a living?
He farmed. He had his own farm.
Okay, and his farm was also in Eastover.
Eastover, yeah. He had a wagon, a buggy, a horse, and 2 mules. He worked the mules in the field, but the horse,
Okay.
you know.
Now, did he have people working for him?
Yes, he had to. He had a big farm, and he used to hire people, you know, big cotton and everything like that.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So were they kind of like sharecroppers? Did they live
No,
on
my
his
father
land?
wasn't a sharecropper. He had his own farm.
Okay. Okay. And the people that worked for him, they would come in, I'm assuming during the day,
They would come
early?
in, yeah, and work, and he would, you know, when they picked cotton, he would pay them, you know, for the cotton they would pick that day.
Okay.
But they would work like all the week. So I was a little girl at the time, and I didn't, you know, I couldn't pick but so much. But I did pick cotton.
Okay. So he made you guys get out and pick too. So he had some free labor in
there. Every time I
there.
see a spot, I'd leave that. My sister had to pick, you know.
So where did you attend school when you were growing up?
Eastover, elementary, then Eastover High. I went to Eastover High School.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I got married when I was supposed to graduate the next year. I got married.
Actually, what church did your family attend?
Red Hill Baptist Church, still there now.
Okay. Do you remember who was the pastor when you were growing up?
Yeah, Reverend Jenkins.
Okay.
And he got a son who was a pastor of the church here in Columbia, Union Baptist Church. His son was the pastor of that church.
Okay.
Before he died.
What role did church and faith play in your early family life?
Oh, I enjoyed it because when I was young, my daddy, he was the chief deacon down there, and I wanted to be baptized, and they had a creek down there, and you know, you get baptized in the creek.
Okay. Now tell us about that experience.
Well, I thought I was doing something great then, you know, when I got baptized, but I wanted my father to buy me a new dress. He had to buy me a new dress, and it was born after I got out of the water.
Okay.
And
So did you get the new dress?
Yes. And I thought I was, you know, and my sister would tease me, talking about, "You not saved?" And I said, "Oh, yes, I am."
You talked about Green Washington, who is the founder of our family, and who came from Mount Vernon, Virginia. And you shared with me that even though Green Washington had already passed away by the time you were small, your brothers and sisters remembered him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what did they tell you about Green Washington, who was your grandfather?
They told me that he ran a candy store in Eastover, and he married a teacher down there by the Wood. Her name was Caroline Wood.
Okay.
And her family, some of her family might be living down there now, I don't know. And then she had at least I know her tombstone is down there. I saw it down there, Carolina, Washington, down there to the church down there, regular now.
Okay.
And
So in order for him to have his own business, you know, he's born in the early 1800s. So this man would not have been working on a plantation, meaning he would not have been a slave in South Carolina.
Not a slave.
And he had some.
And they say he had a lot of money.
Someone from the Washington family freed him
Yeah,
and was able to give him money
Yeah.
in order to
They
relocate.
couldn't have come down here and do that. He'd have
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, to come to a state that was still a slaveholding
I know,
state.
That's right. That's true.
Yeah, that
That's
was
right.
very odd, you know, that he would
Yeah.
want to come further south
Yeah.
as opposed to going north.
Yeah.
So did they describe how he looked or his mannerisms? Did they say, you know, whether or not he was a mean grandfather or a very nice
They said it
grandfather?
wasn't mean because when my brother was born and everything, she said, said, this boy looked just like me. He said, so my brother looked just like him. That's what he said.
Okay.
Oh.
As an entrepreneur for a living, he had his own store, and his wife was a school teacher. Your father was one of his sons.
Yeah.
Do you remember visiting with your father any of his brothers and sisters?
Oh, yeah. My father would take us to visit his sisters all the time. And his brother would come down from Rock Hill, South Carolina, and spend weeks with us, you know. And they were very close. The family was very close. And
Okay.
Aunt Sally, Aunt Rebecca, and Rosie, and Aunt Marthaine.
Okay.
The children.
Okay, so you remember your aunts and uncles very
yeah,
well.
I remember them very well.
Wow.
Very well.
Now, who did you marry? What was your husband's
I
name?
married Charlie Reese.
Okay.
From Eastover, South Carolina, yeah.
So-
His family was living there.
Did you know him from school? Is that how you met?
I met him, yeah.
Got married, and how many children did you have?
4.
You had 4 children.
Yeah. And he passed away, but 3 of the children live and 1 passed away.
Okay, so tell us your children's names, starting from the oldest
The
to the
oldest,
youngest.
the oldest son was Jesse. Jesse Thomas. We used to call him Jesse T, but Jesse Thomas. And he lived in Las Vegas. He first, after he went into the service, you know, and he was stationed in Las Vegas, and that's where he stayed after he got out of service.
Okay.
And I would visit him quite a while. Practically every Christmas, he was sent for me every Christmas. I would go up there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Jesse T was the oldest.
Yeah.
Now, who is the next in line?
Eloise.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Eloise became a
married
Davis.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's here in Columbia.
Yeah.
And so who's next after Eloise?
Shirley. Yeah, she lived in Spartanburg County.
Okay. Now, do they call her Shirley or?
Shirley.
Okay. She doesn't
They
have a
used to call-
nickname.
Yeah, Baby Ruth.
Okay. Now, how did she get that name, Baby Ruth?
Yeah.
How did she get that nickname, Baby Ruth?
Because I asked the next oldest girl, my daughter, I said, what we going to name the baby after the baby was born? She was about 2 years old. And she said, Baby Ruth, and that's why we call her Baby Ruth.
Okay. And who is the youngest? You said Baby Ruth is the youngest.
My son was the youngest. My
Okay.
baby, Willie Ray.
Oh, I'm
Ray
sorry.
Reese was the youngest.
Okay, so Willie Ray is the baby.
Yeah.
All right, and is he here in Columbia also?
He's in Columbia.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, he finished State University.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
in Orangeburg.
Yeah.
What are maybe 2 or 3 values that you think we should have?
The greatest thing you should first have love for your children, your family. Love is the most important thing. Is I taught them love, to love everybody. Just not somebody, just some people, but everybody.
Okay.
Because the love is the greatest thing on earth. I would teach them love.
Okay, so love, and then what would be next?
I tell them to take care of their own business. Don't worry about nobody else.
That's a great piece of advice. Are there more family members buried at Red Hook Baptist
Yeah,
Cemetery?
my father's there, and I got a sister there. My husband is there.
Wow, so that's a good. If somebody's going to do research on family history, certainly visiting Red Hook Baptist Church Cemetery would have to be a place that they go.
Yeah.
Now, what about St. Philip's Cemetery? And this would be St. Philip AME in
Some of my
Eastover.
families belong to St. Philip. I know that. Some
Okay.
of my daddy's people, you know.
So there are some buried out
Yeah,
there also
yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, you know, you're 102 years old. You don't look 102.
Well,
And I know you were driving into a few years ago because I remember
Yeah.
seeing you on the road before I left
yeah.
for
Yeah.
Pennsylvania. Are you still driving?
No, not now.
Okay.
Okay.
But you're in good health. What are you doing to stay so healthy?
I just love keeping me. Just to love. Just love everybody, you know.
Okay.
I think love is the greatest thing on earth, you know. If you
Okay.
can love everybody, you can do. I mean, it's wonderful.
So you don't have a special diet?
And love is my diet.
Love is your diet. Wow. Okay. If you were to say a prayer for our family, what would your prayer be?
I would ask the Lord first to give you mercy and peace and joy and good health.
Amen. Well, Cousin Ann, thank you.